Welcome to AromaticChat, the podcast that introduces you to registered, clinical, and certified aromatherapists around the world. Every other week, my mom sits down with a different aromatherapist to learn about their aromatic journey and how they use essential oils in their lives and businesses. AromaticChat is produced by Lemon Balm Coaching, and my mom, Melissa, is your host. She is a master transformational coach and a registered aromatherapist.
Hey friends, welcome to podcast episode number 76, Aromatic Chat with Ginger Andro. I met Ginger at the Aroma Summit in 2022 and was totally intrigued by her marriage of art and scent. I've spent a good amount of time around artistic people and am thrilled that I get to chat with Ginger today to find out all about what brought her to aromatherapy. Ginger is a natural perfumer, animal aromatherapist, and a lead teacher at the Ebers School of Aromatherapy. She's the NAHA Regional Director for New Jersey and a partner in Kiki and Friends Aromatics. She uses scent in her multisensory installations and merges her passions for science and art. You're going to be glad that you tuned in today. So, let's get started. Ginger, I am so thankful to have you on the podcast. We met last year at the Aroma Summit. You were speaking, I was speaking, and I think we communicated a little bit, and then we became Facebook friends and Instagram followers. But this is the first time that I've had a chance to really talk with you and hear your aromatic journey. So I can't wait to get started.
Well, I am so honored to be here. I am so thrilled.
Oh, that's so great. So let's just go ahead and start with your aromatic journey. You have such an interesting intersection of skills. And I would just love to hear how I'm sure you were a kid at one point thinking you were going to be something when you grew up. And I'm just so curious if any of those things that you thought about when you were a little kid have come true.
Yeah. As a little kid, I was an artist. I was always an artist, but I also was, good in sciences, and I was sort of slotted by the family to be a doctor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there was always that sort of hovering around, and I, so the art was supposed to be a hobby, and then of course I had a tremendous love and relationship with my animals. I really liked animals, so what came through, went into college as both double major in biology and art, and dropped the science because the art was like overwhelming. It was just, it was taking up all of who I was. And I knew that I didn't want to pursue medicine as a field. And, quite frankly, I knew that I was never going to go into a practice that my family would have liked anyway. So I might as well just, be an artist. Yeah. So that's kind of like where that went. I still audited classes and kept up with biology and stuff like that. So hitting aromatherapy way down the road was really kind of interesting because, the chemistry came back, biology, and helping other beings is really nice, without going through the whole medical thing, which, with my own medical problems, I'm happy, that I didn't take that, because I'm sure that would have been a conflict for me anyway. So, then one of the things that I do with the aromatherapy is working with animals. So, I have that connection as well. And it's interesting the way things sort of fall out sometimes.
So how did the aromatherapy come into play? Like, what was it that brought you to this doorstep? Like, what is it that brought you to aromatherapy?
Yeah, I had breast cancer and chemotherapy and my olfactory sense. And I was talking about this at the Aroma Summit too. It just kind of overtook me. So being an artist, that was really odd for me. So as my husband and I then later, actually after my health situation, he had something and we started to collaborate, which we hadn't done before. When we started to collaborate as installation, he's a filmmaker. It's just like, yeah, I need to also add scent to this somehow. It was really an amazing thing to have that woken up in that situation. It was just, I can't even express it because it's not that I wasn't aware of my olfactory sense, but it was so secondary or even tertiary to me. It's like my eyes were kind of my life, and that's my eyes and my hands were how I created. And, the smell's a part of art making. You smell the clay, plastiline paints. It's like, I used to hate the smell of acrylics, used to hate the smell of plastiline, but certain clays I like, it's just, and that became part of the art making, but it wasn't really a focus. And then all of a sudden it just, there's something here that I need to use to express. And that's when I started studying. And I started studying natural perfumery first, because that's all I wanted to do, was to know enough that I could use it in my art, in our artwork. Because my husband and I have been collaborating for years now, Chuck Lixman. It's really been my primary art practice is with him. That's kind of what happened. And then from studying the natural perfumery, my teacher, Debbie Freund, was also teaching aromatherapy, and there was a gap in the perfuming. And somehow, I guess because of my own health and because I liked her and she was wonderful. And it's like I started to continue along that way, and then onto animals. And
That's amazing.
so, and I would keep going into classes and just saying to myself, look, I'm just an artist, So I was just like, I was in the class and I would get certification. It was like, but I can't really do anything. I'm just an artist,
But isn't that what we do with ourselves, right? I think women specifically do this. I know there's probably men out there that do it as well, but I think women, we feel like we are just, pick whatever. I'm just a mom. I'm just a wife. I'm just an artist. How amazing that this new part of you was opened up as a result of going through chemotherapy. So something terrible, awful occurred, yet something inside of you was awakened and you became more than just.
It was really pretty extraordinary. And it's so much a part of the art now.
And then you recently wrote an article for Laura Cantelli's journal, what is it, IJPHA?
National Journal of Professional Holistic
Aromatherapist. Yeah. National Journal of IJPHA. Anyway, so you wrote this article, but it wasn't just an article, right? You guys included the scent aspect in the article.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it's really, well, that was actually the lead writer on that, because Laura had asked me to do that, and things were really crunchy. We were painting murals, and my writing, although I do come to be able to express myself, it's not one of my main forms of expression. And Mark Ari, who we've been collaborating with on a couple of projects now, somebody that we knew since Brooklyn. We lived in Brooklyn before New Jersey. And we had collaborated years ago and shown together. And somehow during COVID, because he's living in Florida now and Chuck and I together here in New Jersey, we were talking about how to get across artwork and to actually bring art, since galleries were closed, everything was closed, to people, and actually maybe bring it to them. After lots of different discussions, anyway, we came up with a project that we've been working on that we're really happy with. So because he was a writer, this is a long way around.
That's all right.
And Laura was fine with it. And he actually kind of did an interview situation with us, and he wrote the article. So it's really, and to include the scent was amazing. She does such a fabulous job with that publication. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, she's a pretty fabulous person.
Yeah.
And it comes across in her publications. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that's great. So you guys found a workaround for your weakness, right? So writing's not your primary form of expression, and you found a workaround. That's huge. Yeah. So it was still able to be done, even though, writing's not how you wanted to accomplish the goal. I think that's fabulous, because I think so many of us we pigeonhole ourselves and we think, oh, I have to do it all. And there's only so much of us and only so many hours in a day. But wow, you guys found somebody who enjoys writing, could do the writing.
Well, he's actually a professor. He teaches creative writing at university. But it's so funny, because after that, because I really am interested in sharing a lot, because there's a lot being done with scent in art now. When I started doing it over 20 years ago, it was really odd. There was one artist who actually is funny, as I progressed with this and with different organizations and galleries and whatnot in the city, we crossed paths a number of times. And I finally met her last year for the first time in person, Gail Knowles, who has amazing projects, and she had actually used scent in the year 2000. For the millennium, she dropped scent. World Sensorium was her project, and she dropped it with the ball in Times Square on New Year's Eve. From that article for Laura's publication, I have actually. I'm not going to say that they're anywhere near Mark Ari's writing, but I have been writing for the NAHA journal. Ragda and I did a series. Ragda Maksud, who partner, she's Eber's School of Aromatherapy, where I teach. But we did a series of articles last year for the NAHA journal about art and scent, and also, bringing it back to aromatherapy. So it kind of had that spin. So it was kind of interesting.
Beautiful. You're teaching at the Ebers School. Yeah. What is it that you teach over there?
She has an online level 1 and some other classes. We came together at the NAHA conference in 2018. And so most of the time I teach the in-person classes with her, although now we're starting to record some things. The studio here, Hawthorne Rose Studio, and we have live classes where we're teaching. We've done the more or less traditional, because there's nothing that traditional, because we always bring in food, and always, everything's kind of multi-sensory here because of, we get quite creative with our classes. And that's really where we're sort of doing now, is more focusing on, multi-sensory experiential. I have a glass still, and we distill things, as part of the classes, and just kind of celebrate the plants and learn about the plants, and of course the oils.
How fun in a time when everybody's moving online and trying to scale in that way. You guys are inviting people into a multi-sensory experience. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really fun. And everybody just, the community that's formed with the students and us, and it's really great. And there's cooking, Chuck gets involved with Ragda in the cooking, because she does her Egyptian tea, taught him how to make Egyptian coffee, and, it really gets all the senses going. And I think that makes it, memorable, and it makes the, what you're learning about the essential oils, it's more part of you, instead of, just kind of separate.
Right. Some ambiguous concept out here. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So are you also practicing like traditional aromatherapy, or is it mostly the art and teaching?
Well, we have a business, like I said, with the animals, and
oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kiki and friends. Kiki's our dog. Although it kind of started with our dog Jake before. And that's, aromatherapy, very safe, kind of off the shelf. I work with a vet up in Wappinger Falls, upstate a little bit.
Hold on a second. Hold on. In Wappinger Falls.
Yeah, do you know Wappinger Falls?
We used to live in New Hamburg.
Really? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh my word, Ginger.
That's really funny. They have the most awesome place. They bought an old, I believe it was an old winery. And a couple of years ago, actually just pre-COVID, they wanted to build a garden. So this is Earth Angels Veterinary, and I got a local botanist that I've worked with. She's great. And because we wanted to plant a garden, so she planted kind of a medicinal and local. She does a lot of work with local plantings and stuff.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so it's nice. So it's a medicinal thing. We haven't yet actually put that into action, but the thought is to go up there and actually distill from their plants. And I have gotten, it's like, of course, all the weeds come to me, the dandelions, the plantains, all of that, and that ends up in product for them. And it's it hasn't fully blossomed yet, but that's the idea, is to have this kind of ongoing thing. They're keeping bees up there now. And
oh my word. That is amazing. So this is something that we haven't even touched on yet. The fact that you're also an herbalist. So you're an artist, an aromatherapist, a teacher, an animal aromatherapist, and an herbalist. Because you mentioned, that the weeds are coming to you, and somebody who's listening might be going, why would she want the weeds? Because
I love weeds.
Because you're an herbalist. Oh my God.
I'm not certified as an herbalist, but I actually am a president of a chapter of the American Herbalist Guild. So that's kind of, yeah. It all steps for being an artist, though. I mean, everybody that I know, it comes from the aesthetic, really. It's like, it's really funny.
But isn't that the way that it is? Like we talked about this before we actually got started. We have our community. We have our people are of like mind, our tribe. And then we grow from there. We branch out from there. You're doing amazing things. My word. So tell us a little bit more about the animal aromatherapy. You said off the shelf. So you're just creating blends for the
well,
pet, or what's happening there?
yeah, I work individually as well, but mostly well, actually that's starting to change now because I'm starting to get more individual animals again. It goes one way or another, but there's a lot of people that just give me something. And I guess our biggest product is our calming product, which is simply called calming. And I studied with Kelly Holland-Azaro, so I went through classes with her going way back. And I also am a diplomat of spiritual phytoessencing, so I kind of combine those. So there's sort of a layered blend. So the calming, I address like 3 different types of anxiety. So it's sort of like your general, like, my dog is nuts and just like going crazy. And then there's the separation anxiety, and then there's fear of sound. So I have those as the oils, and everything's like very, very diluted. It's really diluted. And I also use flower essences. So it's a very mild sort of spray. So that's like one of the first thing. But everything that we do, even the bug sprays that we make, it really is more about, because I live in suburbia. I'm here in New Jersey, and people have a different relationship with their animals than they do in more rural areas often, and very close. And it's like the anxiety, whichever triggers whom, the animal, the dog's going to be triggering the human, because so reactive every time I take them out on a leash, and then and one thing leads to another. So when people spray this, and they're also getting the benefits of both and their dog, it seems that they both calm down and they go out, and it's a bonding vehicle, really, is how I see all of these, including the, like I said, the bug stuff and the more medicinal stuff, like the salves that I would make with the plantain that grows up at the vet. It's about the touch. It's about the bonding as well as it is the product.
That's really cool. Now, I don't even know if this next question, I don't even know if there's going to be an answer, because you do, oh my gosh, so much. I don't know if you feel like you do a lot, but just listening to all the things that you have going on, it sounds like you do so much. But I'm curious if you have any other passions outside of art and aromatherapy and herbalism.
I didn't know, when I was going through medical treatment, and people would like, at that time, like all the questionnaires were, what's your hobby? I would say laundry, but I wouldn't say that that's a real interest. I don't know. It all kind of fits in the same, because it all becomes, art is life, and all of this, I sometimes say I'm so scattered because, I build things, and I do, as an artist, I've had to learn how to use a lot of tools. And at one point I was even building kitchens, and I don't know, my interest. I don't know. I really don't know. It's just
yeah. Well, and that's why I said I don't even know if there is an answer, because you are one of the rare people. It sounds like, I'm just making an observation here. You're one of the rare people in this world that is doing what they love and loving what they do. And when you do that, like, do you need other hobbies to fill in the gap? I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny. Hobby is not really, because it just is all exploring. I don't kind of separate it out like that. Yeah, I'm really fortunate. I mean, to be able to do, it's like when we were painting the church in Queens, and we did all this work, these 6 huge murals and stuff. It's just like periodically I'd step back and it's like, why am I so lucky? I mean, it was a lot of work, and it was sometimes a little nerve-wracking on a scaffold. And, it's not that it wasn't work, but it was, work in a good way, and not work like a job that you don't like,
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I'm really fortunate. Everything. And, working with Rogda and teaching is just, it's wonderful. Like, I love my life.
So what are you working on right now that's got you really excited?
What am I working on right now? Well, we have another of the bridge project that I was saying that we're collaborating with Mark Ari, and that's going to be a series of 3 before we actually go out to a gallery. And that's we call it an in-transit installation. This was our concept of bringing art, a collaborative piece, to people during lockdown. So it comes in the mail.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, I will definitely mail you one. Um,
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
That's
and
a
it has scent, and it has words, it has poetry, and it has, visual on it. And it's but it comes as an invitation, and then you get invited to come to a video link.
I love creative minds.
Well,
It,
this
it,
this is the 3-way. That's why it really grew.
but the interesting thing, creative minds, so many people the creatives that I know, the super creative people that I know, the people on the outside look in and think, wow, they're such a scatterbrain. They're all over the place. But the super creative people, you're just always, it's not that you're moving from one thing to the next, but that's what it looks like to those on the outside. But it's not that, that's not what it is. You're creating and then, oh, more creation. Oh, and more creation. I just love creative minds. Wow.
Oh my gosh, to hear you say that, because I do periodically go through that, and family members would say, just focus, just focus. It's like, okay, but I'm over here. Then I do have to do this too. There's not a lot of sleep. I have to say
Yeah.
that. But it feels like it's all part of one. It's like,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when we scheduled this, I was thinking, like, so how does this all fit in? And I don't really know, but it feels like it does. But it feels like the 2 things in my life were keeping health together and, my art, whatever that means. Sometimes it's sculpture, sometimes it's painting. Right now it's more installation work, but, you know,
Yeah. I don't consider myself an artist. I know I'm creative, but I'm not an artist. I can't paint. I can't do any of those things, but just that creativity, I don't know. That's just amazing. And
well,
the
that is
creativity,
that is being an artist. You are what you do with people and how you draw them out. It's all about the connection, whatever your
yes.
vehicle.
Yeah, my medium is not paint or clay. My medium is people.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think I needed to hear that today, Ginger. Thank you. I think people are going to hear this and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, wow, who is this Ginger lady? And I must follow her everywhere. How can people find you?
2 websites we have: androglixman.com, that's the art website; kikisfriends.com, that's the animal product, which, both are kind of being more worked on and trying to bring them a little bit more together, because some of the scents that we've used in the arts have developed into perfume because people have wanted them. When we do the installations, things are diffused, but so some are now being bottled. So everything is beginning to cross over a
Mm.
bit more. So yeah.
Just the intersection that you've made of art and aromatherapy and just health is, I don't know. I'm finding our conversation right now like super inspiring. I'm, working on streamlining things in my business and making that intersection more visible, I guess. So you're just throwing out all kinds of inspiration today, Ginger. Thank you.
Now, I really, like, one of the things that I keep thinking, after like exploring, after like coming out as an artist that does centers, and it was very funny to come out to an aromatherapy community, which happened in 2018, that I was an artist, because I really didn't want to, I was trying to keep that like under wraps when I was there and just be, into the animals. And it was kind of funny that just emerged. The second level of that, which I see, and there are a lot of artists that work with scent. The second level of that is like artists that work with health, healing artists. I
Yes.
think it's all the same, and I know a lot of artists now that have gone into Reiki and, other modalities. And I think all the aromatherapists are artists. I think that everything's getting merged, or it's being seen for what it really is.
Right, right. Well, who inspires you?
Hmm. Who inspires me? All the wonderful people in my life. You do. A lot of aromatherapists. My husband, who's fabulous. All the artists that I work with, Ragda. Most of the people I've met. Robin Kessler was there helping her with sorting some resin yesterday. But yeah, that was fun. I guess Louis Armstrong, for one, keeps coming back in my head because years ago when I was living in the city, I went to a lecture for artists, and his therapist was there and was talking about him. And I don't remember exactly what the context was, but he was saying he remembered asking Louis Armstrong, like, how do you deal with everybody just copying you? It's like, this is, really something like, why do you keep going? And he's like, because that's keeps him going. He just like, that's fine. It's great. The more the merrier. And just like this, with this great attitude. And, when you're out there and just trying to do what you do, I just think about what an amazing person this must have been. That kind of attitude of just keep going no matter what, competition, all of this stuff that can weigh you down as you try to like live your life. You just seem to like raise above it.
Yeah.
Above.
There's enough for everybody.
Yeah. And it's hard to remember sometimes.
It is. The world wants us to believe there's not enough, but there really is. There's enough for everybody. Oh, wow. Okay. So, the mission of the podcast is to get you connected and help people find you, but also to just increase your footprint. And I'm curious if you have any call to action to leave with the listeners. Is there anything that you would like for them to do for you? Like check out your website, follow you on socials.
Yeah. That would all be great. That would be great. On Facebook, I'm Ginger Andro. And again, the artist website is Chuck and Ginger Andro Glixman. It would be great. It would be great to connect with more people and more of the aromatherapy community. I'm kind of shaking as you say this, because again, I'm sort of like, ooh, I'm an artist that's out there and I'm just an artist. But, I would love to cross this over more because, it really is. I mean, just honoring this sense, the olfactory sense as an aesthetic, and because you do connect so much with everything.
Beautiful. As we close out, Ginger, I always just like to allow my guest to share, whatever's on your mind. If there's something that you thought we should have covered and then we didn't, or if there's a quote or something that you want to share with the listeners, the time is yours.
I do have a quote. It's funny. Ragda, like some months ago, asked me, what's my favorite quote? This is a quote by Rumi, and it's, yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. And I just think that that's kind of a good focus.
We can't force anyone else to do anything. I only have power over myself. Yeah, that's amazing. Rumi, oh my gosh. Oh, beautiful. Ginger, thank you so much for taking time out of your amazingly busy day with herbalism and art and aromatherapy and teaching and animals and spending some time with me here on Aromatic Chat. I'm just blown away by you.
Oh, well, listen, I am so buzzing from being able to speak with you. It's like, celebrity.
I feel the same about you. Oh my gosh, Ginger Andro.
Just an artist.
Oh my gosh. Let's drop the just.
Okay.
Try this one on for size.
All right. New Year's resolution.
Okay. I'm an artist.
I am an artist.
I am an aromatherapist.
And I'm an aromatherapist. Okay.
There you go. Thank you so much, Ginger.
Melissa, thank you. Thank you.
Seriously, can we please throw the word just out of our vocabularies? Unless you're talking about something that is right and fair or something that happened a moment ago, you've got to let go of the just. You are more than just. Just a mom, just a wife, just a salesperson, just an office clerk, just a nurse, just a janitor, just a teacher, just. You are an intersection of all of the thoughts and things in your life. Every single part of you plays a part in who you are. The job that you do is only one small part of you. The next time you're ready to tell someone what you do for your job, notice if the word just is there, if it's prominent, if it's present. If it is, stop, take a breath, and then answer the question without the word just. I am a master transformational coach, registered aromatherapist, wife, mom, meemaw, daughter, sister, aunt, and so much more. There is no room for just. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Ginger Andro. I will include all of the links mentioned in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. Every time you download an episode, you're supporting the mission of Aromatic Chat. Would you share this episode with someone you know who would enjoy learning about the amazing Ginger Andro? There are so many ways that you can support the show. You can listen, you can share, you can leave a review, or even become an Aromatic Chat member at buymeacoffee.com. As a member, you have access to bonus materials, meditations, and early access to all of the episodes. Simply head over to buymeacoffee.com/AromaticChat. Aromatic Chat is produced by Lemon Balm Coaching. I'm your host, Melissa, Master Transformational Coach and Registered Aromatherapist. You can connect with me on Instagram at Lemon Balm Coaching. I will see you next time with our next episode. Until then, peace, love, and aromatics.